What is going on, everybody, and welcome to the newest edition of the Hot Seat. Today's episode is going to be primarily about NFL, NBA, just going around the league, seeing what's up. For our first episode back, I just want to reintroduce myself again, Matthew DiGattano. I will be taking over the channel, so let's just jump right into it. I'm going to share screen with you guys the NFL bracket that just came out. So we have it right here on my screen, and I wrote a little notes just to talk about it. I do think the Packers are going to take the whole thing, and I do say that because one, they're the number one seeded in the NFC, and I think Aaron Rodgers is MVP again this year. And here's my little side notes that I wrote. I highlighted it. Rodgers finished his 17th NFL season, having completed 366 of 531 passes, 68% for 4,115 yards, 37 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. His 111.9 passing rating led the league this year. So I do think Aaron Rodgers and the Packers do have a shot, and hopefully they do, go far in the playoffs and win it all. That's my prediction. I do think they will take it all. But between these games, we already know the Bucks won, we know the 49ers won, we know the Rams won. So I think in the final championship for the NFC, it'll probably be the Packers versus the Rams. That's what I'm hoping for to get to the Super Bowl. And then for the AFC, we know the Bengals beat the Raiders, and we know that the Bills beat the Patriots and Chiefs beat the Steelers. I don't know what's going to happen with the Titans game. I do think it's very close because the Titans are very shaky. They're on and off, and the Chiefs have been very on and off this year. So that game's up in the air. But I do think the Chiefs take it because the Chiefs are the Chiefs. They're good every year. You can't really doubt them at all, especially in the playoffs. So I think the Chiefs will make it. And then my Super Bowl prediction for them, for the AFC, that'll probably be between the Bills and the Chiefs going at it. And I do think the Bills will take it. So my Super Bowl prediction is the Bills versus the Packers. I do like the Bills defense. I like Bills Mafia. I like their crazy fans. I like what the Bills are doing. And the Packers are just, I think, the better team. And I do think the Packers will come out victorious and win the Super Bowl. That's just my take on it because I do watch some games of the NFL, not all of them. And also with the Packers defense, I found out that they do have a new coaching staff and they really slowed down the run game this year with anyone they played. And they are in a tough division as it is. So even in my notes, you could see I wrote Packers versus Bills for my prediction. Now let's get into MLB. The lockout's still going on. There's a lot to talk about there. Rob Manfred is meeting with the MLB Players Alliance and Association to talk about all those things. I don't have much to say about the lockout. I know some minor leaguers are getting signed. I know the Mets or before the lockout, the Mets went crazy on some starters. And we all know Max Scherzer was one of them. We also got some minor leaguers. There's been a lot of minor league movement, so I haven't been really been able to cover it, but I will. And then I just want to take a look at next year's World Series predictions. Well, this year's World Series predictions. My predictions before I even looked at this because I want to show you guys the list. I had the Dodgers because the Dodgers are basically going to win 100 games this year. I think so. The Mets, the White Sox, the Phillies, the Red Sox, the Rays, the Padres, Cardinals, Braves, Astros. Those are just the teams, the 10 teams I think are going to make it. Personally, this is my list. I didn't look on anything before that just because these teams are very solid, very good. And I'm a Mets fan, even though I'm wearing a White Sox hat. I like White Sox pitching, but I do think these are the top 10 playoff teams. And now I looked on a website, thegameday.com, for all you sports bettors out there. The Dodgers have the highest odds right now at plus 550. So I mean, this list is basically what I wrote, but they have the Dodgers, the Astros, the Braves, Yankees, White Sox, Rays, Giants. The only reason I kept the Giants off my list is because last year was very lucky. I don't think that team is that good. It surprised me that they won all those games last year. So I don't think they're going to be in it. You have the Red Sox who are okay. I really don't think they'll go anywhere because that division is stuck with the sucking Yankees and the Rays, who are very good teams. The Blue Jays are competitors this year, so I could see why they're on the list, but also their division always comes down to a tie with the Yankees, Rays, and Sox. So it all comes down to it with the NL now. The Mets, everyone, I'm a Met fan, everyone says the Mets are going to be good. We make a few moves, we do this, we do that, and we're good. We're a 72 win team. We've always been 70 wins. This year, I do think we're going to get 90 wins, but I'll get more into the Mets later. They have the Cardinals, the Phillies, the Oakland A's surprised me because Oakland is basically having a fire sale with all their players. So I don't even think Oakland's going to be that same team that we've seen in the past. The Reds are really good. Surprisingly, I do think they will make it. The Mariners, no. Last year's wild card was a big fluke. I don't think the Mariners are good. I think they have no good players. I don't think there's anyone worthwhile on that team besides Kyle Lewis, who had one good year and one Rookie of the Year. The Angels, they take Noah Syndergaard from us. They signed a bunch of pitchers and they still can't win because one, their best player in baseball, Mike Trout's always hurt. Ohtani is doing both and he'll get hurt eventually. But I like what Ohtani's doing. He is their face of their franchise and organization. But I don't think that the Angels will make the playoffs again, as they don't every year. Because at the end of the day, they have no infield besides that kid Jared Walsh. There's no one on that team that's a big name besides Ohtani and Trout, and those guys are injury prone. Trout's the best player in baseball, we know that. But if you're injured prone and you're injured all the time, what good are you for your team if you're good for 3 months of the season, 4 months? Now we have the Cleveland Guardians, the Indians. I don't think they're going to make anything. That's why their odds are so, little. The Nationals, I don't think they'll make it. And then they just have, this is the whole list for every team. The Pirates are the last, obviously. The Pirates aren't going to make it. Orioles, all these garbage teams in the bottom, I don't think they ever shot anywhere. Besides the Tigers signing Javi Baez, which I thought was a solid move on them. Wanted the Mets to re-sign him, but they didn't. So that's that. On this list, honestly, the Marlins are a joke. I wouldn't even think about them. The Phillies, I don't like any team in the NL East, but Bryce Harper is my favorite player, so I'll get into that a little bit later. But then I want to talk about the Mets coaching staff because I'm a Mets fan. I'm a big Mets fan. I like the new move, what they did with Buck Showalter. I think Buck Showalter is going to lead the team very well. He's an old guy, and the game's changing a lot. It's very fast-paced. I do think Buck Showalter will have a better leadership and a better judgment of who's he going to put in certain situations. Now, I never liked Luis Rojas, even when he did the signing and the whole Beltran situation went down. I do think that Rojas was rushed into the position, even though he's worked in the organization. I don't like him that much. But I'm very happy that they fired him because I was not a fan, and Buck Showalter was a great signing. I was telling a couple people that I know that I think Buck Showalter was going to get the job once they started hiring him because he is a big baseball guy. I watch him every night on MLB Network. He's very smart. Eric Chavez, very good third baseman in Oakland back in the day. I know the Yankees wanted him as an assistant hitting coach, but we took him because that's what we do. We are obviously better than the Yankees, I think. And Eric Chavez is a solid hitting coach. He's better than what we had. I couldn't even tell you who we had because I don't care that much. But Eric Chavez is a good name, so I'm looking forward to seeing how the Mets do. And my prediction for them this year is 92 and 70. I said we've always won 70 games. 92 games is efficient for us. I think it will set the deal, especially if you have DeGrom and Scherzer going back-to-back. That's at least 11, 12 wins. If our offense can produce, that's the problem all year. I need the offense to produce. Every Met fan needs them to produce. We just signed Starlin Marte, Max Scherzer, Mark Ahana, and Cabrera, the third baseman. These are all good guys. They're utility guys. Scherzer's probably our best piece. We need more pitching. That's all we need is pitching. We need a better catcher because I don't like McCann behind the plate. Thomas Nido, he's alright. He's streaky, but again, he's a backup. He's not really a starter. And then, since I'm a Browns fan, I want to talk about this because this is just Baker Mayfield has been a problem in Cleveland all year. Me personally, I used to pull for him. I don't anymore. Don't like Baker Mayfield anymore. I think he's ruining the franchise. He got rid of Odell, and Odell's going crazy since he got to the Rams. There's been a coaching situation where Baker's been fighting with the head coach. I don't think that was smart on either end, especially since, it doesn't really matter. What am I saying? We went 7-9. We didn't really have a good season this year, but I just want to take a look at his stats this year. His stats this year were terrible. Baker Mayfield is not a good quarterback. I'll say it, even though I'm a Browns fan. I love the Browns. He's not a good quarterback. He's a solid quarterback. What I mean by that is if I want a guy out there to get me 6-7 wins and a mediocre team, that's your guy. But the Browns are expected to be a lot better because our defense is amazing. We suffered for all these years. I do think the Browns have more potential with a new quarterback, and hopefully My prediction is they're going to take somebody in the offseason like Jimmy Garoppolo or somebody good, a leader, or Aaron Rodgers, I hope, Russell Wilson. There's a lot of good guys out there, and I do think the Browns can get them. But they already came out and said that Baker is going to be the starter. So, I can't really complain. I'm still going to root for him. I just don't think he can lead a team. I don't think he can lead my team. I think he's a cancer in the locker room. His wife on social media. Social media is killing these guys. That's the problem. A lot of these guys are facing problems with social media, so better off keeping your head out of it and not even talking about it. That's just my opinion. But I think the Browns going forward need to be better. I like Andrew Berry as a GM. I do think that Baker's probably going to get that long-term contract. So there's not much I want to say more about that. It is what it is. He's a starting quarterback. If you guys haven't checked out the video before this, my welcome video is back from a couple days ago when I filmed it, just to let you guys, get a little entry of what's been going on now that I'm back. And now I'll take a jump to the NBA. We'll jump to it. I'm not really a big basketball guy, but I'll cover it because it's a sport and it's something going on as a lockout's not really doing anything. I'm a Knicks fan because I'm from New York, obviously, but I don't really care about basketball that much. But in the standings, I don't know how the Bulls got there. I know Lonzo, DeRozan, I know they're all there, but out of this whole East, I do think the Bucks will take it. I just know that Chicago's on a winning streak. The Heat, everyone's hurt. The Nets are the Nets. Without Kyrie, they're basically an average team. They need Kyrie. James Harden just came out and said he doesn't even want to stay, so I don't know what's up with that. And that's really all much I can say for the NBA. The West, Steph Curry. He's going to carry that team no matter what. He's my favorite player, even though I'm a Knicks fan. Steph Curry is the greatest player probably this year, and he's a top 10 player of all time. We know that. LeBron's been struggling over here good. I don't like LeBron. Don't care for him at all. The Warriors, I think, will take it. But again, I don't really watch basketball that much, so you guys know more than me. I'm just saying what I see. And somebody I do want to talk about, because this guy has controversy all over, is Antonio Brown. So I've had run-ins with Antonio Brown personally where I go meet him, and as much as I do, no, I go meet celebrities. It's like a personal thing I like to do. Antonio Brown is just a crazy guy. And what I mean by that is he's not mentally there. Like one day he'll be the nicest guy in the world. The next day he'll drive right by you in a car. This dude's he does probably have CTE. I do think he's crazy. What I mean by that is like, this dude is messed in the head. The way he carries himself, the way he left the game, that's something I want to talk about. Antonio Brown, how do you do that to your team? The Buccaneers don't need him. They're a very good team. But your team is in the playoffs. Your team is going to run. Tom Brady might get his second ring on the Buccaneers. He's looking at history. And you're just running around shirtless, doing your own thing, calling an Uber. Like, what's wrong with you, man? You really ruined it for everybody. I mean, people who were there probably got their money's worth. I wanted to go to the game. I should have went. But if I knew you were going to do that, I would have bought front row tickets. It would have been worth it. TMZ even covered him jumping down the arena rails after. Like, what is wrong with this guy? This guy has some serious problems. Look, and he's a rapper now. His song's not good. Pit to the Palace, Pit to the Garbage. He's not good at all. And then look what TMZ put this headline: jumps on arena railing after Lakers game. It's AB. I mean, he's a showboat. Now that, especially since he's not a player, he's going to be a rapper and pursue that. I don't think he's very good at rapping. He's a good football player, but he's not a rapper at all. I think what he's doing outside is stupid. I think he just wants attention and clout. So we'll see what happens with that. I know UFC's got a big pay-per-view coming up. Take a look into that right now. I know this is the pay-per-view. This is the fight that's coming up. UFC 270. Francis Ngannou is probably going to win because he's a dog. He's a beast. And he's a heavyweight, so 16-3 record. I think he'll win again. I know he's very famous for just winning and killing people, just like Usman. So it's good to see. This card doesn't really, I'm not a big UFC guy, so I bet if you're a UFC guy, you go crazy for this. But I do know who Francis Ngannou is, and I do think he's going to win the fight. So that's my take on ESPN and UFC and every sport. I know I do want to get into a little bit of, I would say, just league talk in general. I do think the MLB's lockout is very dumb on both parts because you're prolonging spring training, you're prolonging players working out. The MLB should have did better. They should have came to an agreement as last year's season was going on. There's a lot of things that could have took place and went down to help and better people, but it didn't. And in the long run, it's costing us the fans, you know, our money. We're not even going to see this season on time. We don't know what's going to happen, but I think that I hope they come to an agreement. That's the main goal everybody wants. We want the season to start in February. We want the season to go in March, April, May. We want the whole thing to happen because with COVID and everything, it's been tough. But I do think we deserve a season, especially when that starts on time. That's all I got for this week. This is Matthew DiGatano signing off on the hot seat. Next week we'll be back at it again because round 2 of the playoffs will be done. Hopefully we get some MLB news on the lockout regarding anything. Take a look at any news that comes up in sports, UFC, whatever we got. So this is Matthew DiGatano signing off the hot seat.